Here's a reminder of why July is the perfect time to regroup and refocus. Hello, 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 and welcome to More Than Money, a podcast where we have nuanced conversations about money, business, and life, where we take the time to explore the human side of money because success with money is never just about the numbers. I'm your host, Jacquette Timmons, and whether this is your very first episode or one of many, I am really, really glad that you are here with me today. And before we get into today's episode, lest you need a reminder, it's summertime, which is a great time to pause and invest in taking your financial and behavioral understanding to the next level. And I just happen to have the perfect tool to help you. It is the More Than Money Workbook and its audio companion. And it's a combination that is designed to help you align your money with a bigger vision and to take a very holistic approach to it, right? So it's a holistic experience that blends practical tools with milestones, reflections, and rituals with emotional insights to help you create a financial strategy that actually fits you. At the end of the day, it is designed to increase your financial clarity, confidence, and self-awareness. And all you need to do to get started is go to jacquettetimmons.com/digital products. Again, jacquettetimmons.com/digital products. But for now, let's get into today's show. So you may have heard me mention this, but earlier this year, I went through a rebrand and website redesign process. And if you've ever done that, you know what a lift it is, especially if you are aiming to do it well. And like I said, if I didn't share this before in a previous episode, my new website launched in April, and I love it. And here's the truth, though. I did not realize how dated, quote unquote dated, my old website looked until the new version was presented to me. And as much as I am in love with my new website and the new branding and just all of it, I am not loving the back end of this process. It has created an unexpected time sensitive project that, I just really, really wasn't planning on having. And it has me downloading manually, by the way, each blog post from my old website, just so that I can have an archive of my historical content. Y'all, this goes all the way back to 2020. And what year are we in? Yeah, right. So, in order to, get through this process without completely losing my mind and all of my patience, I have been carving out varying amounts of time each day to work on this, and I am making some really good progress. Now, I will not go as far as to say I am having fun with this process, but I must admit that it is somewhat cathartic to travel down memory lane and to see how topics and themes that I talked about in years past are not too different from what I address currently. Even if the examples that I used back then are dated, the core ideas still hold true. But here's something that I didn't expect. I didn't expect how rereading old posts would reignite my commitment to talking about money the way I do, which is, as you know, differently. And there's something very energizing about that clarity. And it reminded me why I started this work of getting people to pay more attention to the emotional dynamics of money and not just approach it logically. I mean, that is why I started this work in the first place. And With all of these years that have passed, not just from the blog post, but just when I started my career, I am really, really glad that the behavioral aspects of money have become more mainstream, with more people embracing the emotions of money. At the end of the day, that is a very good thing. But here's how all of this relates to you right now. Mid-year has arrived. As I record this, we are in July, which means we are officially halfway through the year. And that makes now the perfect time for a mid-year review. And if it's the case that you happen to be listening to this and we are way past July, that's actually okay. Because personally, I think any time is a good time to reflect on what's working, what's not working, and what needs to shift, be it in your money or with your money, in your business, and in your life, especially as it pertains to tracking your progress to hitting your year-end goals. But what makes doing this in July so poignant is because you now have 26 weeks worth of data. And the thing about data is it does not care if you like it or not. It simply is what it is. And your job is to get curious about what that data is telling you to do or not next. And that is why I am a huge fan of mid-year check-ins. And in fact, I just completed my own for Q2 just a couple of days ago. And I do that, I feel this way about it, and I do it for myself because they provide an opportunity for you to assess your current situation, right? Where are you now relative to where you thought you would be? What's working? What's getting in your way? It gives you an opportunity to assess your rituals, like what habits are moving you forward? What habits are keeping you stuck? And by the way, if you hear me say rituals and habits and you're like, I don't have those. I mean, I know you have habits, but if you're like, oh, I don't have any rituals, the truth of the matter is everyone has rituals, even if they are undocumented. But it also gives you an opportunity to identify the gap between where you are and where you want or need to be, and the extent to which you may need to recalibrate. It's also an opportunity to identify the lessons learned and to celebrate your wins, which I hope that you are giving yourself permission to do. For a lot of folks, summer represents a time to slow down. But here's the thing. Moving at a slower pace doesn't mean not moving at all. Actually, I'm of the belief that doing a mid-year review when you have fewer distractions is really ideal, since it gives you a chance to take a step back so that you can expand your horizon. It gives you a chance that when you take that step back and expand your horizon, you can see things a little bit more clearly. And with enough detachment in order to lead the emotions that surface for you as you go through the process. And in addition to all of that, it helps you to determine what small pivots you can make as you move forward through the rest of the year. So you don't have to make these huge leaps, but just incrementally making some changes can have a profound impact on, how you end up, how the year ends for you, and how you do with meeting your goals. And for my fellow business owners, this mid-year review process is perfect for identifying ways to increase your revenue. And it also reveals which revenue streams are working and which ones may need to be paused or adjusted. And if you're listening and you're like, well, I don't own a business, well, then this is for you too, because for professionals, doing your own mid-year review is not only a best practice for preparing for your employer's annual performance discussion, but it is a great way to begin gathering evidence so that you can make a case for increasing your salary and or your total compensation package. So I am curious, do you have an existing mid-year review process? If so, I would love to hear about it and what it is that you discovered most recently from doing it for Q2. and how that helps you to make better choices starting now. So if you do have a process, please share it with me on Instagram. Send me a DM. And if not, well, then let's talk. Because doing this kind of reflective, strategic check in is exactly what I do with clients for their money, for their business, for their life. And each month, I open my calendar for 3 new coaching clients. And if you'd like to explore what working together could look like, well, then send me a DM on Instagram and reference episode 20, what is it? 263. I almost forgot which episode we're on. So let me start all over again. Send me a DM on Instagram and just write episode 263, and I will know exactly what you are interested in, and I'll get in touch with you for the next steps. But in the meantime, I've got more coming your way that will help you to tap into the power of using mid-year reviews as a tool to make money make sense. For now, though, that is a wrap for today, folks. As always, thank you so much for listening or maybe even watching if you are joining us over there on YouTube. If you like what you've heard, and would like to show appreciation for this podcast overall, or perhaps this particular episode, please do me a favor and share it, because when you do, you help us to reach more people than we ever could on our own. You know what else helps us to do that? If you leave a rating and a review, especially if you are listening on Apple Podcasts. And I'm asking for the combination of a rating and a review because that's what helps us with the algorithm. And look, we need that, right? So that we can be found by people who are searching for podcasts that talk about money, business, and life. And of course, if you are on YouTube, again, thank you for joining us there. We are slowly but surely building up our subscribers. Please go on ahead and leave a comment below because we do, in fact, read them. And here's one more shout out before I say goodbye for the More Than Money Workbook and its audio companion. Remember, it is designed to increase your financial clarity, your financial confidence, and your financial self-awareness. And I hope you will add it to your money toolkit. And of course, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, or more precise because it's summertime, an iced dirty chai latte, here's how you can do that. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Jaquette. Again, buymeacoffee.com/Jaquette. Thanks again for listening or watching. I will be back with another episode, and I hope that you will too. Until then, remember, it's about more than money.